Welcome back to the Perfect Season Podcast. It's the Super Amazing Podcast that talks about everything, all things sports related, and absolutely nothing to do with milk cookies. My name is Alex. We're joined today with Antonio and with Frankie. Week 6 NFL.
Let's start it off. Let's start it off with a team we all had going into the season being terrible. Team that was terrible. Two teams that were going to be terrible. Someone who we thought that wasn't fit for the quarterback position. Talking about the New York Football Giants. They're 5-1.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And the Jets cracked the top 10. Now, gentlemen.
Top 10 of what?
Power
rankings.
According to whom?
But those are subjective.
ESPN.
Those are completely subjective.
Some power rankings make no sense to me.
Now, gentlemen, do you see one of these two teams making the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I see one.
I see one just because I see one, and that's the Jets.
Look
at that division. Look at that division. You got Buffalo, who's going to be taking the division.
Obviously.
Then you got Miami. You get Tua back, not this week, but next week.
No, yes, this week.
Oh, this week. My bad. And then you got the Jets, and then you got the almighty fallen off Patriots. Patriots are terrible. You want
to tell me again that they're almighty falling off Anthony Fiorentina? Because I'm telling you right now, Bill Belichick has his team back on track. They've won 2 straight games with a backup quarterback in Bailey Zappi, and now there's debate as to whether or not Mac Jones is going to get his job back when he comes back from injury. Because I'm telling you now, Bill Belichick will go with the and if you don't believe me, look at what he did to Drew Bledsoe in 2001 with Tom Brady. What did that give them, by the way, a Super Bowl?
I mean, I'm just saying from everything
excuse me.
You're excused. From everything I've been reading, it says they still think the Patriots are going to finish. I saw something saying 3-14 with a losing record or 500.
Here's my take about the AFC East. All right?
But
Buffalo's got the division in the bag. That's not up for debate. That's
Buffalo.
Are we sure? Are we sure though?
If I had to put money on a team to win,
talk about how Tony Romo called that game perfectly.
That was a stupid question. Buffalo was, of course, taking the division.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not saying that it's guaranteed, but I'm saying they have the absolute best chance. Okay, look, Miami's 3-3, Patriots are 3-3, the Jets are 4-2. However, here's the thing: I would still rank both the Dolphins and the Patriots better than the Jets. I still am going to sit here and say that the Jets will not make the playoffs. Now, with that being said, I will sit here and say that the Giants will make the playoffs. I have no faith in Daniel Jones still. I do not have faith. However, I have faith in Brian Dable and Saquon Barkley. And those are the two people that have made this offense
and the
special.
defense. And the
exactly.
defense.
Yeah. Offensively, yes, but the defense has been completely special. 9 out of 10 times when you have a team that has a really good defense and an okay offense, they don't really make it that far with the exception of the San Francisco 49ers. However, the Giants defense has been completely surprising to me. The offense has been stable enough to make them win close games. I think the Giants are going to be having the number 5 or number 6 in the wild card seat, obviously behind Philadelphia.
Because Philly's gonna win that division.
Philly's winning the division, but here's the thing about the Giants. Now, I was thinking about their schedule. Their schedule today. Their next few games. At Jacksonville, very winnable game. At Seattle, winnable game. Home against the Texans after a bye, that's a winnable game. So then all of a sudden you're talking 8 wins. They still play Washington twice. They're terrible. That's 2 more wins. You're up to 10. You still have the Lions. You still have the Lions. You still have the Colts. That's a winnable game. By the way, the Lions is, I believe, a home game. And the Colts, that's a home game. So the Giants, based on their schedule, because they play a 4th place schedule, can very easily find their way into the playoffs. And the NFC is not very strong. The AFC is strong. Like the Jets
is one of the.
I'm not sure how sustainable that is because they still play the Bills twice. Like the Jets' remaining schedule. So it's at Denver, which is all of a sudden a winnable game. They still play New England twice. They still play the Bills twice. They go to Minnesota. They go to Miami. That's not an easy schedule, and that's why I'm saying to Alex's point, the Giants are more likely to make the playoffs than the Jets. I think it's great what the Jets are doing. I love Sauce Gardner. You know that, me being a Bearcat, Sauce Gardner being the Bearcats' first round pick since 1971. But I'm saying it's unrealistic to say that the Jets are a playoff team. Are they a great story? Yes. Are they better than they've been in years past? Absolutely. But
You know, I'll change my prediction. I'll jump on y'all's side with the Giants.
I mean,
Yes.
My grandpa's a
Anthony, you said-
Giants
Anthony,
fan.
You said the Jets.
you
You got to back up the
you
Jets.
do what you want to
Hey,
do.
I
Like,
know,
don't let
but-
us influence you.
But I'm going back to the Giants side.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing about the
but-
Jets. Okay, their offense.
No,
is
the
definitely-
Giants-
No, their offense is electric, and I will credit that solely because of what Breece Hall has done in the last 3 weeks alone. Breece Hall, in the beginning during the draft, I had no idea why the Jets would draft a running back when they had Michael Carter, and he had a somewhat decent rookie season last year. However, Breece Hall has completely revolutionized that offense, and when I mean revolutionized, I don't mean super revolutionized, but he's been such a huge playmaker and a huge addition. He has given life and allowed Zach Wilson to not have to throw the ball as much as what he had to in the past. Also, shout out to Zach
Wilson's
Wilson for being
undefeated.
3-0. So, I mean,
But if you were to ask me now, I think the Jets, they'll improve this year. They'll be maybe a 6-7 win team. You never know. You
as
never
bad-
know.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I still
You never know.
I'm changing my prediction of the Jets this season. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. However, if they finishing in the AFC, I would not be surprised if they finished 8th or 9th, to just outside of the playoff picture, with how they've been.
I think the Jets
I
have.
mean, because there are some winnable games, and they have a lot of young talent. Like, their defense is really good. Offensively, they're coming along. Breece Hall, as you mentioned, Alex, is having a fantastic rookie season, front runner for the offensive rookie of the year.
I'd
also
give him
got-
offensive rookie of the year. I'd give it to him. Honestly,
They got good receivers too.
Well, I'll say this: Alec Pierce might be making a little bit of a run with his last 2 games for the Colts.
Pierce
Don't they
has
have-
been
don't
very,
they have
very
Corey
good.
Davis?
What? The Jets?
Yeah.
I
The
think
Jets-
they still do.
Jets still have Corey Davis. They still have
Okay.
Garrett Wilson, who was a rookie. But here's the thing. As for rookie wide receivers, there hasn't been any of them that have shown me that they deserve offensive rookie of the year. Maybe Chris Olave. He's definitely been a huge part of the Saints offense.
What about Drake London?
He had a good couple games.
He
in the
hasn't
beginning.
shown me enough.
He had a good couple games.
Now
in the
I say
beginning.
that, and he'll go off for 150 yards on Sunday against the Bengals.
Exactly. He's
I
had
mean,
a good season so
that's just how
far.
it goes.
Yeah, he had a good early season, but the last 3 weeks he hasn't produced to a level that you'd expect of a first round wide receiver pick.
But that's because, Alex, the Falcons are going towards a run-first offense, and it's a really good running offense.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. I mean, Marcus Mariota's got legs. I mean, he looks.
I
Like
think
he
if
was in the
the-
college
Marcus
days.
Mariota is basically a version of Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson's better.
What?
Lamar
No.
Jackson is a mobile quarterback. Marcus
Yeah, and so is Mariota.
I would call Marcus Mariota a dual threat quarterback. I wouldn't put an
Marcus,
emphasis.
I mean, they both
Marcus,
got-
Mar-
they both
Marcus, Mar- Marcus Mariota, he's a leader.
They both got speed for their legs and everything.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Mariota, it's just not like someone told this to me once. If you don't have that magic as a quarterback, you're just an average quarterback, right? Lamar has the magic to him. Mariota really doesn't.
Mariota is showing what he should have shown when he was drafted to the Tennessee Titans. I'm not saying that he's replicating what he should have done. However, he's showing. Sorry, I'm trying to open my drink with one hand. Mariota in the past couple of games has shown to me that he's willing. He's deserving of a starting position. He's deserving to be the starting quarterback somewhere. However, you also have to remember this: Desmond Ridder is still behind him.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You also have to remember, and also the
but
quarterback.
if you're winning, which the Falcons have won 3 of their last 4 games. By the way, their 3 losses this year by a combined 13 points.
Which is
No,
absolutely
but I was
insane.
reading if we're going to talk about the Falcons now.
I think it's
when do you
surprising wins of the week.
give Desmond Ridder the chance, or do you just leave Mariota for it? Because I was looking at some mock drafts for next year, and they already had Atlanta taking a QB.
That is the stupidest mock draft I've ever heard, and whoever said that needs to stop doing mock drafts for the rest of their life.
It was from
And
ESPN.
why are
That
we
makes
talking?
sense.
Why are we
Makes
talking
complete
about
sense.
mock drafts right now?
Here's the
That
thing.
doesn't-
I was just trying to say,
Okay.
if we were on the quarterback debate,
Here's my thing about when you start Desmond Ritter. You start Desmond Ritter when you need that spark. If the Falcons lose their next 2 games to the Bengals, which is expected, then they host Carolina. You can't lose to Carolina at home
If you lose to Carolina.
If you even think you expect to make a run of the playoffs this year, which, by the way, I've been reading this week, is now a word that's being thrown around in Atlanta. And I don't know if you heard Arthur Smith this week. He goes, "Listen, I'm not going to Jim Mora you guys, but we're focused on Cincinnati." So essentially, he Jim Mora and Bill Belichick in the same sentence.
Here's the thing with Atlanta. I'll be the first person to say I wrote them off at the beginning of the season. I was like, oh, they're in a complete rebuild, whatever. Mariota, Cordell Patterson when he comes back, Drake London,
Kyle Pitts when he's good.
Kyle Pitts now that he's finally being able to score in fantasy. Atlanta is weirdly enough an underdog team to potentially make the playoffs. Not saying they are, but they've won some games so far this year that they shouldn't have won. Specifically this past week, beating San Francisco at home. And what I mean, I'm not saying that they beat San Francisco. They beat them by 14 points, 28.
Are we going to say? Are we worried about San Francisco?
No. San Francisco.
So you still have San Francisco.
Here's the thing, and I didn't think about this until just now. That was their second straight game on the East Coast. That's not easy. They're back home this week. Now, I will say this, if they lose this week, okay, maybe it's time to be concerned. But no, they're still tied for first with Seattle and the Rams, and Arizona's terrible. They're 2-4. So no, you don't need to worry about San Francisco.
No, San Francisco, it's weirdly enough, the NFC West, which was arguably last year the most competitive division, is now one of the more weaker divisions, on par with the AFC South. I'm not worried about the AFC South is a dumpster fire. No. I'm not worried about San Francisco.
You know who's
the NFC South is a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I will agree.
Yeah, no, it really is.
So, I don't even want to touch on that.
Unfortunately, we have to.
I know. Unfortunately, we have to. Touch.
Your quarterback missing whatever the Saturday walkthrough for Robert Kraft's wedding.
Yeah, no.
But Robbie Anderson got traded to Arizona.
And that's not going to make a difference. Yeah. Robbie Anderson is really not that big of a playmaker. If anything,
I don't even know what the whole skedaddle or fiasco was.
Robbie Anderson was upset because of something or another, or because PJ Walker didn't throw the ball past the line of scrimmage and he wasn't getting reps. So then he got sent off the field and then he got traded the next day.
Oh, so basically an Antonio Brown.
Yes, but the thing is that Robbie Anderson thinks that he's good.
And Robbie Anderson
shipped off to Arizona. Arizona Cardinals fans, congratulations. You got a wide receiver with an attitude problem. You want to know what happened the last time somebody got a wide receiver with an attitude problem? He showed up to the practice field in a hot air balloon.
Antonio Brown.
So I'm not
saying. Now is Robbie Anderson going to show up in a balloon?
No, he didn't. He showed up to practice like any normal person should have. However, I don't think that he's going to make an impact. And you know why I don't think he's going to make an impact?
He's not that good.
Well, that too. But who's coming back for Arizona this week?
DJ Hopkins. Oh yeah,
I forgot. DeAndre Hopkins.
And he went to Clemson.
Okay, so
I had to throw it in.
No, we're not talking about Clemson, Florida State. That game played out. Okay, it was.
I'm not saying we're
throwing shade at it. He was
just
saying he was Clemson. It was just Clemson.
I'm just saying he went to Clemson.
Okay. So before.
But it was a good game though.
Before we talk about the Bucs. Arizona losing to Seattle 19-9. Here's the thing. Seattle's defense is honestly one of the worst defenses, and the fact that they were able to hold Arizona to 9, that's concerning. And the Cardinals just lost Marquise Brown for 6 weeks to the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, their season's in dire straits.
Yes, Cliff Kingsbury, I guarantee he's going to get fired by the end of the season unless they make a miracle playoff run. DeAndre Hopkins is coming back. I don't think that's going to be enough to make a huge push. Let's see. Aside from that, Washington-Chicago was a better game than last week's Thursday night football.
At least someone scored a touchdown.
Not by much. Yes,
someone scored a touchdown.
Luckily, yes. Dante Pettis scored a touchdown.
Whoever that punt returner is for the Bears, he had one job: catch the ball.
And he messed that up.
The Bears lost to a team that might be for sale by the time they play this week.
Exactly.
At least, gentlemen, we don't have to see the Broncos in prime time till week 14.
Amen. Oh yeah. Talk about another thing.
What's their record going to be by then?
What are they at now?
5-8, 5-9.
What are they at?
They're not good. They're not good. Russell Wilson is not good. And
what is going on? Like Russell Wilson before Denver, he was the top
Still
10
wasn't
quarterback.
good.
He still wasn't good, believe it or not.
Russell
You know what?
Wilson
He
was a good quarterback before
Russell
Denver.
Wilson, and I've said this many times.
He's underrated.
No, he's
Before Denver.
overrated. No, he's
Before Denver.
overrated.
He's
Do
overrated.
you know, since Malcolm Butler picked him off at the goal line in Super Bowl
Should have
49,
ran the ball.
you want to know his playoff record? 3-5.
Jesus.
And
And he
people
also-
used to complain that he only had one MVP vote in his career. There's a reason for that.
Reason
He's
for that.
as good as you think he is.
And the other reason that you also have to remember, before being traded to the Broncos, the Seahawks finished below 500 last year, and everybody blamed the defense, this defense, that. Here's the thing: everybody thought Russell Wilson was good because of what? Well, who are his top two receivers right now? Tyler
DK
Lockett
Metcalf
and DK
Tyler
Metcalf.
Lockett.
I mean,
And look
that's
at and somehow Geno Smith can get him the ball.
exactly.
Now
Geno's-
Geno Smith is making a statement saying
and
he's a good
He's not
quarterback.
making it. I mean, I don't know if he's making a statement now. NFL.com has him ahead of Joe Burrow in their quarterback rankings, which really
that's
Where
a
did
bit
they put
much.
Burrow?
It's a bit much.
they have Burrow 8, Smith. It's either 7 or 8 and 9. But what I'm saying to you is Geno Smith, the one thing he's doing is he's very accurate. He's making good decisions. He's not turning the ball over very often. He's giving his team a chance to win every week. And right now, the Seahawks have a better record than the Broncos for a reason. By the way, did you see in the game, Denver had a 4th down on the 40-yard line and chose to punt. The same team that chose to kick a 64-yard field goal instead of go for it in week 1 against Seattle.
Yeah.
If the field goal from the 40-yard line would have been 58.
It would have.
Hear me out.
Think about it.
They need to require teams to go for 2 points or go for it on 4th down. At least twice a year.
No, don't ruin the nuances of the game.
You know, Frankie, it was funny that you said this, that the Bears lost because of a fumbled punt. Monday night, the Chargers won because the Broncos had the fumbled punt, which is absolutely insane.
That
as well.
was-
in overtime.
That was hilarious.
In overtime. Also, shout out to Dustin Hopkins. Man was injured, still kicking field goals left and right.
MVP.
Well,
Yeah.
He's out for the next 4 weeks because he's messed up his leg because of that game. But you know what? He was on there. He contributed
Well, that's
to the
fine.
team. He played through the injury.
Brandon Staley will just go for it on 4th down every time they cross maybe their own 20-yard line.
Did
Exactly.
you hear?
I still don't like Brandon Staley as head coach.
You hear Chase Daniel after the game went to his second job? Literally a report came out. After the game on Monday, a report came out saying Chase Daniel, after Monday's win, went to his second job.
What's the second job?
I don't know. It didn't say.
I'm not going to trust that then. Even Chase Daniels as a backup quarterback is still making millions of dollars.
Yeah, I don't think you
I'll look it up.
No offense to anybody, but I don't think you would need a second job if he's a backup quarterback in the National Football League.
Exactly. You could be a practice squad player. You don't need to have a second job. Okay.
Moving on.
So moving on. So let's see. Buffalo beating Kansas City.
Good. Great game.
It was a
Great
fantastic
game.
It's a fantastic game.
Tony Romo said it
Yeah.
was going to be a 24-20 game.
Tony Romo.
I just think
What's up?
What?
I think he froze or muted himself. My
No.
takeaway from the game though was go ahead, Alex. You there?
I'm here.
All right.
I was saying
It was a great game.
Tony
It was
Tony Romo may not be a Hall of Fame player, but he's definitely going to be a Hall of Fame commentator. Whenever Tony Romo is commentating a game,
There's
you
a
know
such thing.
you're going to get next level analysis. Okay,
That
Let's
was a great game.
it was a good game. It was a very close game.
I think
Bills-
you
Bills
saw
finally got
though.
their-
I think you saw how much Kansas City misses Tyreek Hill though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly an impact player, but I mean, still, Kansas City made the game close. Buffalo was the best team in the AFC, debatably one of the best teams in the AFC.
Unless Josh Allen gets
There's
hurt.
no the Chargers don't come close to Buffalo. You can't
Never
can't
said
beat
they
the
did,
Broncos.
yeah.
You can't beat the Broncos 19-16 and expect to be one of the best teams in the AFC, if not the best. I'm sorry.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. But the thing is, even
Buffalo's-
Kansas City lost by 4 points to the best team in the AFC.
And Buffalo may not lose another game the rest of the season.
They may not, but here's the thing: I'm still not going to.
They could lose to Cincinnati, but
It could be a Buffalo Philly Super Bowl.
yeah, you know what? We might be headed that way.
which is not the worst case.
A tale of
I'd be okay
two
with that.
cities that have interesting fans.
Well, they have two of the best fan bases in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean,
Buffalo, on the other hand, sets people on fire and jumps on tables. Philly
Let's talk
win a
about-
championship
let's talk
and
about-
burn down the city.
all right, let's talk about Eagles Cowboys.
You know what? It was at home. Philadelphia came away with the win, but you also have to admit,
They scored in the second half.
Despite being up
They
20, despite being the Eagles being up 20-0, the Cowboys still played as if they were. They still played to win the game. They were down. They came
did.
back. However, Dak Prescott may be back this week. I'm not sure if it's this week. I guarantee you by next week he's going to be playing. There's reports saying that he may play this week. I'm not going to trust those sources.
I've heard he's active. But
He's active, but I mean, this is the
I don't know.
medically
I mean,
clear.
He's clear. So
if Dak, let's say Dak goes, I don't know, he has a terrible game.
we're not having this debate on if Cooper Rush starting over Dak Prescott.
You're not going to start Cooper Rush because that was the first time on Sunday that defense is figured out. Okay. Like the
Cooper
Eagles
Rush has
intercept.
won
No.
that game.
You are not going to start Cooper Rush over Dak Prescott if Dak Prescott's healthy. I'm sorry. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
There's no debate.
You're going to start the guy who's coming off his best season statistically last year and
Had
who
a
won.
horrible game.
You will
against
not
the
win the NFC East. You may not even make the playoffs if you start Cooper Rush. He did well when he was called to duty in 4 games. But if you make him the full-time starter, that's not going to go well. I guarantee you that.
It's not going to work out very well. And you also have to remember, Cooper Rush is not some young guy. He's 28 years old. He's the same age as Dak Prescott. Well, Dak is 29, but still, you get the same gist. Okay, so we got some other games that we need to speed through here. Cincinnati, New Orleans. That was a very close game. Shout out to Cincinnati for coming away with the win on a 60-yard touchdown.
My head is still ringing from how loud that place is.
I bet you got to give Cincinnati credit.
When they tell you the Superdome is loud, it is loud.
Agreed. Aside from that,
my big
Rams,
big takeaway from that game for me, the Bengals maybe found themselves on offense.
I think the Bengals found themselves at a time where they needed to find themselves because
yes,
the Bengals are what? They're 3-3.
They're 3-3, tied for first in the AFC with Baltimore,
which is crazy to think about. Honestly, a lot of these divisions are not all that they're supposed to be.
Cincinnati, the majority of the NFL.
Yeah, no. Cincinnati found themselves at a time that they needed to find themselves. It's week 6. They're going into week 7. You have the rest of the season. You're 3-3. That's not a bad start to be in. And you know what? You finally found yourself. You can hit the ball running. Try and recreate what you did last year. Shout out to Cincinnati. I'm glad that you guys finally figured out your offense and got your offensive line in line.
By the way, Joe Burrow last 5 games, 10 touchdowns, 1 pick.
Not a bad stat line.
Not
the Rams,
not bad. Started off rocky.
Yeah, they did start off rocky, but they finally they got their act together.
Rocky top.
Rams beat the Panthers. Not really surprising by that.
No, I mean the Rams are still.
The Rams are still terrible.
I'm not gonna.
They're not terrible, but they're not what they were last year.
No, I willingly would not put stock in the Rams to do anything this season.
So who do you got winning? Rams or Bucks when they play?
The Bucks, but even then, you know. All right, you know what? Actually,
I don't even
talk about it.
Yeah, so, I know we're gonna have to talk about it.
Well, here we'll make it a little bit easier on you.
You lost to a team that was 1-4, coming off a team that just lost 38 to 3 the previous week. What else do you want me to say?
But before that, Minnesota, Miami, that was a closer game than I thought it was going to be. Miami only lost by 8 points. I thought it was going to be a little bit worse than that. I'm happy we're getting Tua back against the Steelers Sunday Night Football. The season can finally get back to rolling again. We were 3-0. Tua got injured.
That's a big game.
It's a big game.
I think if Tua stays healthy, Miami makes the playoffs.
I think
there's a good chance. We've seen what
Tua's a good quarterback.
I know
been better this year.
And I was one of the people to say.
Can I say this?
I was one of the people to say like how everyone was saying, "Oh, Tua's a bust." I never said that. Tua's not a bust. So all the
can I say that?
Go for it.
Can I say this?
What?
No one is talking about Minnesota, and they're 5-1.
Yeah,
they were projected to win the division.
They're 2 games in front of Green Bay right now, and they have a win over them.
Green Bay's terrible.
You're 2.5 games above Green Bay. You're vying for the second place position in the NFC playoff race.
And your only
Actually, you are
loss to
second place. You
Philadelphia.
are second place, and you lost to Philadelphia, who's currently undefeated. Not a bad rep right now. You're 5-1. As long as you keep Kirk out of primetime games, Minnesota, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna win. I say Minnesota's gonna win the division at this point. I'll get on that bandwagon, especially after seeing Green Bay lose to the Jets in Lambeau. But
Can I get your opinion on what Sauce did? What Sauce Gardner did?
I loved it.
I thought it was funny.
I'm all for it. I'm all for
No,
it.
the Jets haven't had. I mean, someone brought it up. Good Morning Football talked about this this week. The Jets have been defined the last 10 years by the butt fumble and just being bad. Now they have their first round draft pick wearing a cheese-headed Lambeau Field. That's how you turn your franchise around.
At first I was
The Jets may not make the playoffs this year, but you know what? They're fun to watch and they're relevant, which is good.
They have a really young offense, and they have a relatively young defense. The Jets could be a major player next year, not this year. I'll stake a claim and say that the Jets have it. That they may be a candidate to make the playoffs.
They're a offensive lineman and some defensive players away from a good run.
Well, the problem is that when you say that they're an offensive lineman away, they have that offensive lineman. He's just out for the year, and that being Mekhi Becton. So
isn't he like 6'8" or some shit?
He's 6'8". Yeah, he's out. Okay, so
he's like what, 370?
Something like that. But
that's crazy.
All right, we got 2.5 minutes left, so we're gonna have to kind of go through this rather fast. But probably the biggest upset of the week, worse than Atlanta, the Pittsburgh Steelers at home beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm not surprised. Whenever
Frankie, you called it.
They always find a way to win. This is a classic Steelers win.
You were the only person to call it last week in the predictions. You said Pittsburgh was going to beat Tampa Bay. We all called you crazy for it. You know what? We are all eating our words now from that. So.
It was just like how we started against Kansas City. It was just like that.
Yeah, but Anthony, here's the thing about previous seasons and then this season.
Kansas City this year.
Okay, but yes, I agree.
It was how we started against Kansas City, and I knew it was going to be when we didn't score our first touchdown to the fourth quarter. You knew that was bad.
Yeah, but it's not as bad as Kansas City because even then you put up 31 points on Kansas City, who still doesn't have a very good defense. Now, speaking of what Frankie said, the Steelers allowed 38 points against the Bills. Now, then again, it's the Bills. The Bills' offense is one of the best.
Bills are just.
However, you also have to look at the stat line of some of the Bucs players, primarily Tom Brady, and you also have to question what is going on with Brady outside of his own issues. This week alone, absent on Wednesday, was not at practice, was gone Friday, went to a wedding.
Before you say the thing about Wednesday, he has the Wednesdays off.
Okay, and that's fine. But here's
that's
fine.
That's fine.
He still wasn't a Friday or Saturday. And here's my concerning thing.
Because he was at Kraft's wedding.
No. The last 2 years, Tampa Bay has started 6-2 and 6-1. This year they're 3-3.
Mm-hmm. Tom Brady has only thrown 8 touchdown passes on the year. Not very high scoring games. He's not being able to utilize his weapons and everything. He's screaming at his offensive lineman on the sideline because they're losing to the Steelers. I mean, Tom Brady is just falling apart as a leader.
I mean, part of me wishes, as a true Bucs fan, part of me wishes he stayed retired.
I mean, you guys won a Super Bowl with him. You have to be
we won a
something.
Super Bowl.
But here's the thing, Tom Brady is destroying the chemistry of the Buccaneers right now.
And as part of it's also not Brady, it's also maybe Byron Leftwich, the play calling. It was 3rd and 10, and we're run the ball.
I don't think that there's any other issue here. I mean, they have Todd Bowles as their head coach. Okay, that's issue number one.
That is issue number one because Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich, they're too predictable.
And that's fine, but you also can't blame head coaching on every single step of the way. You also kind of have to take a look back. Here's the thing, man. Tom Brady's a veteran. He's won 8. How many Super Bowls is he at now? 8?
7, 8.
7.
Oh God! Thank God he's not at 8. So he's won 7 Super Bowls.
And Tom Brady played with the defensive-minded head coach for 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
With far less talent than he has right now.
Yeah. So and here's the thing. Yeah, you can chop it to age. He's 45 years old. But here's the thing, man. This is the one issue that I have with Tom Brady, more than the fact that he was a Patriots and destroyed the Dolphins for 20 years. You are gone Wednesday's practice, Friday's practice. You're on a wedding and you don't go with the team to Pittsburgh. You take a private jet to Pittsburgh. You play in a game, you're losing. And what's the first thing you do? You yell at your offensive lineman That is not a leader. That's a dictator.
No, it's not, and I don't care if anybody says that's Tom Brady, but I don't think he has the right to do that. If you're not, if you're at practice and you make it to the walkthroughs on Saturday morning, you know, you do everything you can to get there and you're yelling at your offensive line, okay, fine, that's different. But he blatantly missed the walkthroughs.
It's not like he couldn't make it. He could. He chose not to go. I don't think the Bucs are in serious trouble right now. I mean, obviously, I still think that they are more than willing to win the division, obviously, when you look at what's there. It's just concerning, to say the least. Frankie, as you said, Tampa Bay, first 2 years, or the last 2 years, they started off 6 wins in the first 8 games.
We have Carolina this week. We'll get a bounce back win.
Okay, that's fine.
That's the hope.
That's the
bounce
hope.
back win, and then I think it's
Then you host Baltimore on Thursday night.
In Germany.
And then you go. And
Baltimore, then you get a mini bye.
Then you play the Rams.
Then after the Rams is the Germany game, right?
Yeah.
What's the Germany game? Or who's playing?
Seattle.
Bucs.
Seattle.
Okay.
That could be interesting.
That could be.
I'd watch it. I'm okay with that. Germany game, yeah, better than a London game. Okay.
Well, hopefully they make it out alive in Germany.
They'll be just fine in Germany. Probably better off than in England. All right. Now, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're going to do our predictions right after this. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscription. Tell us your biggest upset, biggest surprise of the week. And with all that being said, we'll be back next week with week 7 overview.